Today we're going to be talking about using parenthetical expressions. So when we talk about parenthetical expressions, we're talking about essentially about those times when we give kind of a break or a pause in our sentence. So we go from the sentence that we're going along with, and we step off of the sentence for just a minute. So when we're talking about parenthetical expressions, we use that word parenthetical essentially to mean these things, parentheses, right? And a parentheses, the things that go into parentheses, are often added content or kind of an interruption in the main content. So that's kind of the idea here. So an example of this, if we were going to kind of show an example of some parenthetical expressions, we would start with a sentence like, "You are my best friend." Period, okay? That's a perfectly fine sentence as it is, right? You are my best friend. The parenthetical expression then would be an interruption in that. So you are, I think, my best friend. Okay, so now what has that done? What has it done by adding that parenthetical expression? It doesn't sound, I mean, it's not as streamlined as the original sentence, but what we've done by putting that I think there is we're taking ourselves back away from that sentence a little bit. We're saying, this was our original sentence, you are my best friend, and now I'm going to step back away from that a little bit. I'm going to say, you are, I think, my best friend. And when we do that, if you could see my body, those of you who are listening, you kind of do a kind of a shrug of your shoulders a little bit. You show your body movement, and you do it with your voice to show that you're stepping away from the sentence a bit. You are, I think, my best friend. Another kind of parenthetical expression, something that's always a parenthetical expression, are adverbial conjunctions. And so when we're talking about adverbial conjunctions, we're talking about things like however, yeah, moreover, in fact, okay. Huh? More or less, like the two words more or less. More or less could work in this way. So like, so it would work pretty similarly if you said, this is more or less my favorite class. If I had something like that. What I've done with that is I'm interrupting the main sentence, this is my favorite class, with more or less. And so that it works in the same kind of way. When I have these words, though, these adverbial conjunctions, the idea here is that when I use these words in a sentence, if it's just interrupting a sentence, okay, I want to set it off with commas. So an example of that would be something like, Jason is, however, going to the party. Okay, Jason is, however, going to the party. So we've talked about however connecting two sentences, and this is not really what we're talking about right now. So however can either connect two sentences, in which case we'd say something like, my brother is Nathan, however, he doesn't live nearby. Okay, so we talked about that before, where we used however to connect two sentences. And in that case, we used a semicolon before and then a comma afterwards. But here we're really talking about kind of interrupting one sentence with just a couple of commas. Okay, 2 commas there. Okay. The third thing that we're talking about when we talk about parenthetical expressions is the use of the word etc. So when you use the word etc., it's always considered a parenthetical expression. So, okay. So the way that we use etc. then, when we're writing a sentence, we'll often use it in a list, right? So I'd say something like Bob, Phil, their sisters, etc. are my best friends. Okay, so I use etc. there to just kind of extend that list, right? And when I do that, I want to put commas around etc. If the only time I wouldn't put a comma after etc. is if I'm ending the sentence with etc. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, well, and oftentimes we put an etc. at the very end, and that's fine. Yeah, that would be fine. It's just that if I go on with my sentence, I do it this way. Right, I do it this way. The final thing that we're talking about with parenthetical expressions, then, is what we call a direct address. And direct addresses, when we're saying that, what we mean is that we're saying something and we directly address it to somebody. So, for example, if I have a sentence like, give me the hammer. Perfectly fine sentence, right? Let's say we're at a work site, though. Okay, we're at a work site where there's several people nearby. We might want to address who it is that we want to give us the hammer. So maybe there's 3 people that have hammers. We don't want to have Bob or Jim give us the hammer. We want Fred to give us the hammer. Okay. So if I just say give me the hammer, just looking at that at that as a sentence, what do we have as our verb there? The action of the sentence. The thing that's happening is give, right? And what then would be our subject of the sentence? Who is going to do the giving in the sentence? It can't be me. I'm the one that's going to receive the hammer. Hammer is the thing that's going to be given. So I am the indirect object. I'm going to receive it. Hammer is the object. Hammer's the thing that I'm going to get. So really the person that's going to get it, or the person that's going to give it, right? The person that's doing that action is you. You, give me the hammer. Okay? So when we talk about direct address, if we were going to then focus this at a particular person, I might do something like, give me the hammer, comma, Joel, period. Okay, now I'm saying, Joel, you're the one that's going to give me the hammer. Okay, my subject is still you. You give me the hammer, Joel. Okay, but I've addressed it. It's almost like the way that we address a letter, right? When we have a letter, right, we've written our letter. If we don't put anything on it, it's just going to go to anybody. Who knows, right? It goes to the dead letter bin, right? But if I address it, okay, now it's going to go to whoever I want it to go to, okay? So I'm addressing this statement to a particular person, okay? Similar to direct address, we kind of lump it in with direct address, is this idea of kind of adding in a little bit of a question with a sentence. So, for example, I could write a sentence like, this is the best day ever, isn't it? And when I do that, I'm not really asking you, is this the best day ever? Right? I'm not really asking you that question. I'm making a statement, and then I'm kind of addressing to you that I kind of want a response. Isn't it? Isn't it? Okay. And so this works in that same way. Okay, so that's pretty much that's the way direct address works then. is it works to kind of to directly address the information to somebody. And kind of all together, all of these different kinds of commas for parenthetical expressions, again, the concept is that we're stepping off of the sentence, going away from the sentence, and then kind of coming back, or we've gone along with our sentence, and then at the very end, we kind of add something on, tack something on, the end or the beginning. Notice that sometimes if we have a word like an expression like I believe, if I use I believe at the beginning of a sentence, I believe Spam is tasty, I don't have to put any commas after it, because the point of the sentence is that I believe it. Okay? If, however, my sentence is something like Spam, I think, is the nastiest I think, the nastiest meat product. What I'm doing there by using this I think is I'm kind of stepping off the sentence a little bit and making it clear to you that it's really just my opinion, right? So I don't necessarily, maybe I don't want to stand by Spam is the nastiest meat product, okay? Because maybe I'm not sure. Maybe I think you might like Spam a lot, right? And so I want to kind of step back from that a little bit. But that's the way we can do that. We can kind of give that sense of that. All right.